Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with the High Elves, going to be taking on the Beastmen, hence the Ferrari Reavers here. Thanks for that, Aristo. I love that nickname. I'm going to definitely steal that for these guys. Yeah, so we've got plenty of them. Let's go over the army compositions. Of course, the Ferrari Reavers and 3 more units of regular Reavers. Over on the far side, we've also got some Fireborn here, about to duke it out with some Centaurs with great weapons and Poison Hounds right off the bat here due to Vanguard shenanigans. 2 more Dragon Princes, a line of Spearmen, and Alariel up in the air. She's got Faw's Protection and Earthblood for a relatively cheap kit with both of her items, as well, of course, as Arcane Conduit. For the Beastmen, more Centaurs with great weapons. These ones are actually the Sons of Goros Regiment of Renown. He's also got the Blackhorns Ravagers here. 1 unit of Minotaurs with shields. Beastlord on a chariot with a Bray Shaman Lore of Death. Looks like Spirit Leech, Fated Unit, and Soul Blight. Front line of Goreherds with shields. He's got Ungor Raiders, Koroks Man Rippers. Very good choice in this matchup. An Ungor Spearman Herd, and of course this group on the far side, which is immediately going to get tangled up with the Fireborn here. And make no mistake, the Fireborn will beat the brakes off of these Centaurs with great weapons and the Hounds here. Of course, with the Illyrian Reaver support, that will be doubly so. But yeah, the idea here is we're going to use hit-and-run tactics as much as possible against the light Beastmen troops. Illyrian Reavers, who I gushed about in my top missile units, or sorry, top missile cav video, which of course, if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check that video out. Illyrian Reavers are my #1. Some of you had pointed out that Glade Riders do have a bit longer range, which you're right, they do. They're also significantly worse in melee. Especially for their price bracket. I don't often bring Glade Riders personally. I think that Sisters of Thorn are actually objectively better, but that's neither here nor there. Today we're looking at the High Elves, of course. Some Hounds have been rallying, and you can see we're just kind of repositioning the infantry force, kind of pulling back, playing this skirmish long kind of hit-and-run game. You can see the balance power starting to creep in my favor as we do so. Dragon Princes, unfortunately the Fireborn actually going to get somewhat caught up on those Ungor Spearman herds. Not ideal, but yeah, some return fire coming down from those Ungor Raiders there. Very nicely done on those Illyrian Reavers. That's a great cost use of them. Dragon Princes collapsed on this side of this Gore herd, and they're going to get immediately rear charged by Illyrian Reavers, so they're going to get taken down without too much issue, although there are Minotaurs incoming, so we're going to have to dip out real quick. You can see actually the Dragon Princes countercharging there, trying to take advantage of that charge bonus, but not enough of the models actually got in to do some good work. And then of course the 2 armor-piercing chariots also come in, so not the best, but we do drop the Earthblood there. Meanwhile, over on the other side, still just kind of skirmishing, pulling back, doing some hit and run. A nice side charge here by these Dragon Princes. Going to get some really nice shock damage against the light Beastmen infantry, and this is definitely a danger for the Beastmen. Looks like a Fate of Buna going down on those Fireborn, of course, very good choice. They're, 1,900 points, very expensive cavalry, so I don't actually see Fate of Buna all that often in the current patch. I think people have just stopped using it, which is always nice, but the Sons of Goros here with their magic attacks are going to be very good choice at taking out Dragon Princes. They just about committed to a rear charge there, and they probably should have, although there's another unit of Dragon Princes hot on their heels, and those Dragon Princes were routed off by the Minotaurs, who themselves are taking quite a bit of damage, with the Sons of Goros standing in here. The Spearmen, High Elf Spearmen, won't be able to touch them. They'll clean them up very well, and it'll take repeated rear charges by Dragon Princes, and of course the Dragon Princes need to not get bogged down by the high mass units like the Chariots and the Minotaurs there. Star of Avalorn helping to heal some of the damage from that Fated Buna, and we also dropped an Earthblood there as well. More charges coming down, the Blackhorns Ravagers getting ravaged by the Dragon Princes there, and now we're going to get a little bit of a pitched engagement. Faw's Protection going down on those Fireborn just to give them that much more armor and melee defense, up to 68 melee defense since their martial prowess is gone. But yeah, Spearmen getting eaten up alive here in this big old Beastman blob, although out in the periphery we've been able to clean up a lot of routing units. The Reavers are going to be really, really good at doing so, especially against light Beastman units. They can kind of isolate them, charge from multiple directions. You can see we've pinned in these Centaurs with great weapons with the Reavers, and then come in with the Fireborn to help clean them up. Meanwhile, in this main pocket here, some other spearmen have come to kind of fix this big beastman blob in place. We do have some rally dragon princes just kind of chilling in the back, waiting for a good opportunity to strike here. And again, these gore herds and I believe blackhorns ravagers, nope, just regular gore herds, just getting repeatedly hit by side charges, rear charges, reavers coming in, doing a hit, and then quickly pulling away here. You can see that beastman going for a ride there. But yeah, Reaver is just such a good unit, especially in this matchup, or any matchup where you're going to be facing a lot of low armor units. You know, think Skaven, Wood Elves, they might be pretty decent as well. Although with Wood Elves, I would argue infantry skirmishers like Lothar Seaguard are probably a better pick, just so that you can get a much bigger volume of fire. But a few Reavers certainly are useful there. Let's see, what other matchups? Greenskins, they can be very good at helping win the mobility engagement there against things like Spider Riders and Wolf Riders. Pretty much any matchup where you're going to be facing low armor, even like Norska, vampires, things like that, where you might see some low armor monsters. You know, definitely good picks in all of those matchups as well. So definitely one of the stronger tools for the High Elves, and it fits well into my playstyle as well. I definitely favor more mobility, cav-centric builds, so that you can do stuff like this, where you can see my opponent's force is almost completely surrounded, and it's getting pulled in different directions, because we've just about finished off the last of his mobility there, having to sacrifice these Reavers a little bit into those Sons of Goros, although they will do okay, and then we're going to countercharge back in with the Fireborn, who I didn't want directly taking that charge. Looks like Soul Blight going down there, but we are going to drop the Star of Averlorn as well. That probably will bring those Fireborn up to their healing cap. You can see the balance of power, though, is definitely in the Beastmen's favor at this particular moment. These Minotaurs are still online, and the Koroks Man-Rippers almost completely healthy still. We still haven't been able to get much damage done, but Alarielle is going to start to come down and get involved herself in the melee here. She has a pretty good charge bonus of 62, not bad at all, and especially with her decent combat stats, being an elf, she's decent in combat. She can come down and charge and get some pretty good damage done, especially on a unit like the Bray Shaman, which has very poor combat stats on the Chariot, has good weapon damage and armor, but yeah, he's definitely going to want to get out of there. The Fireborn have reached their healing cap. Those Valyrian Reavers going to chase off the Sons of Goros there. You can see Alarielle going to get in a little bit of a precarious situation. Spirit Leech going down, but the Fireborn also rallying to her. You can see we've got the Sons of Goros fixed on a unit of Spearmen over here, which is fine by me. These Spearmen will definitely die, but it will be a glorious sacrifice nonetheless. But yeah, Alarielle comes in. The other tattered units of Dragon Princes come in. We're trying to clean up these Blackhorns Ravagers, who are still standing in his pocket, who, pretty decent choice, I think. They have good melee defense. They're immune to psychology as well, which is always nice. I guess that's because of the Primal Fury, but the Perfect Vigor, definitely a good trait to have, especially in potentially long engagements. But you can see the Beast Lord starting to take some damage here, and Alarielle's kind of doing a bit of cycle charging action, pulling back up into the air, charging back down, and getting a good attack there. Of course, we're trying to take advantage of that good charge bonus, but yeah, at this point things are looking pretty rough for the Beastmen. The balance of power has finally tipped in my favor, although there are still some threats on the field. You can see the Man-Rippers starting to finally take some damage now that they've got a charge from those Dragon Princes, but once those Spearmen are gone off the side, then they just turn around and start to cut up the Dragon Princes. Definitely don't want to stay in this engagement for a prolonged amount of time. That being said, we're just trying to finish off the leadership of the Beastmen at this point. My opponent pulls through his own halberds there, very nicely done, bogging down a bunch of the Dragon Princes. That being said, these Blackhorns Ravagers are just about off the field. The Koroks Man-Rippers are fixed on some more spears here, so I want to charge down here with Alarielle, but we're going to have to be careful because the Koroks Man-Rippers will do a lot of damage to her, and she's about half health. If we were to lose Alarielle, this balance of power would definitely flip back in the Beastmen's favor. So yeah, definitely a back and forth game, lots of pushes in terms of the balance of power, but we'll see if the Beastmen can pull this out here. It's going to be a little bit rough to try and protect their leadership against Alarielle. They're really just going to have to sit on top of these halberds. Otherwise, Alarielle, or like these tattered Dragon Princes as well, even the few Fireborn that remain, only 11 of them left, are definitely a threat. So you can see Alarielle comes down. Koroks Man-Ripper is going to swarm in on her, and we're going to get a nice side charge by that unit of Dragon Princes. Just does a really good amount of damage despite the armor of the Man-Rippers. Unfortunately, the Chariots are just about fast enough to keep Alarielle pinned down on the ground. You can see she's taking some damage. We're just going to force path everything straight past these Man Rippers and try and bog them down. You can see the Brayshame gets a little distracted, and his leadership is also not doing great. Here come the Fireborn chasing down the Beast Lord here, getting a few lancing blows to the back, and then another unit of Dragon Prince is going to charge in from the front, and at this point the Beastmen, surrounded by the Dragon Princes, the Ferrari Reavers, the Fireborn and all that, definitely going to get routed off. He even gets taken down, I think, there. Yep, he goes down, so with that, the Beastmen forces are going to get that much closer to routing. You can see the Bray Shaman very, very close, and the Korok's Man Rippers as well. Their leadership probably not long for this world, so we'll take up some cinematic actions of... yeah, Lariel charging down, Beastmen going for a ride, and it is going to be victory for the High Elves. So well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. It's a fun build. It's definitely pretty micro-intensive, and as you guys saw probably at the beginning of the battle, the balance power was immediately against me, so if I had made too many mistakes there, it could have easily led to army losses early on, maybe even a bit prematurely, but nonetheless, we were able to come back. You can see all the Dragon Princes really carrying their weight there, 89, 132, and 159 on the Fireborn. Not to mention we were able to get them to their healing cap, which is always nice. Obviously, you want to try to keep them from taking so much damage, but they were able to tank out quite a bit. You can see my opponent's kind of elite armor-piercing mobile forces, the Centaurs. Sons of Goros did pretty well, 36 kills. They're a great pick in this matchup to help take down Dragon Princes. Minotaurs were a little bit more rough. They got some okay work done, but the Korok's Man Rippers were definitely MVPs for the Beastmen. 165 kills. They cleaned up a whole bunch of Spearmen and also killed a whole bunch of Dragon Princes. Both the Beast Lord on the Chariot and the Bray Shaman on the Chariot both did quite well. Also, 72 kills apiece. A lot of those, again, coming against the Dragon Princes, as these are the few units my opponent brought that had the AP to deal with the Dragon Princes. From a build perspective, I think this works pretty well against the Beastmen. There are some risks. If my opponent had brought the Minotaurs, obviously, or the Regiment of Renowned Minotaurs, they have the regen trait, so the Fireborn will deal relatively well with them, although they are still a very powerful unit. Definitely agree with the Sons of Goros pick, although I'd probably cheap out on these Gore Herds. Go with Ungors with spears, rather, and then maybe go with a more hard-hitting or larger mobile force, like maybe you bring another unit of Minotaurs, maybe you bring a couple more Centaurs or something. You know, there's some different directions you could go with the Beastmen to try and deal with this, but I definitely think that the heavy cav lists for the High Elves are going to be the biggest weakness to the Beastmen, just because they don't have the best answers to heavy cavalry. They generally tend to struggle against factions like Bretonnia and High Elves when they go very cav heavy. So just some food for thought, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.